Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I want to be analyzing the Visa Bulletin from October of 2023 to October of 2024. And I'll be using the data that I got from this Visa Bulletin for this whole 1 year to predict Visa Bulletin movement so that you'll be able to understand or keep your mind at rest when there's going to be any movement vis-a-vis the EB2 NIW or the EB1A or the EB1 general so that you actually keep your mind at rest or know when to start preparing to apply for the adjustment of status. Now, if you are new here to my channel, welcome to my channel. My name is Chiedozie and I'm a senior writing analyst. So I'll be breaking down these figures so that you would understand how the whole thing works and the movement that is going to take place anytime from now. I also will be breaking down the whole concept of the Visa Bulletin in this video. And the Visa Bulletin is a monthly publication by the US Department of State that provide updates of the availability of the immigrant visa for family-sponsored um, preference category or the employment-based visa. And due to the numerical limit on this visa, the bulletin outlines priority dates, which determines when applicants can apply for the adjustment of status. And if you follow the visa bulletin very well, you would understand there is a what they call final action date and dates for filing. These two things mean differently depending on what category of visa you are applying for. And the final action date determines the date that action is likely going to take place on your adjustment of status, and a date for filing indicates the date for which you are eligible to apply for your adjustment of status, aka green card. Getting these things out of the way, I want to be talking about the movement that is going to be happening throughout this whole year from October 2024 to September of 2025. And I want you to stick to the end of this video because I'll be giving you tips of how and when there is going to be a huge jump in the visa bulletin, because I've gathered this data, I've looked at it critically, and I think I have an insight because I think that I could make predictions based on what I've gathered so far. I want us to look at the October of 2023 Visa Bulletin because that was when the fiscal year started for the year for the Visa Bulletin 2023. And if you look critically, we would understand that the for the EB1 rest of the world, it was current. China, it stays at October, or for China, it was at 1st of August 2022. For India, 1st of July 2019. Mexico stays current and Philippines stays current. For the EB2 NIW, it stayed at 1st of January 2023 and China 1st of January 2020, Indian 15th May 2012, Mexico 1st January 2023, and Philippines the same thing. And for the EB3, 1st of February 2023, China 1st September 2020, India 1st August 2012, Mexico and Philippines 1st February 2023 and 1st January 2023. So we have gotten an idea of where it stood as at when the year began, and we would understand that movements start happening, and there were certain times where there was no movement at all. And if there were no movement at all in certain months, which months would we say that happened that there was no movement and so on? This is what I've gathered that I've prepared in this video because I want to help you so that your immigration journey will be easy for you. It's not going to be like a roller coaster where you go ups and down, where your heart starts racing, and when it's not racing, each time you know that the visa bulletin is going to be released. So I want you to calm down because I prepared this video so that you don't have to worry, unnecessarily. Now stick with me as I continue my analysis. From the analysis that I have here, the visa bulletin came out for November, December, and they were the same. Nothing changed for the visa bulletin that came out. And from what I have in my hands, there was significant movement. This is where the movement happened in January of 2024, which means that the visa bulletin stayed the same for November visa bulletin, December visa bulletin, and in January it was when a move happened. Now, if the move happened, how did the movement happen is what I want to explain to you. Now, you would understand that, like I mentioned earlier, that in November, December, there was no movement at all. The visa bulletin stayed the same and would notice no movement. It was at a red light in terms of traffic. But when we came to January, it moved for the people from China. There was movement from 1st of August to 1st of August 2022 to 1st January 2023. It was a huge movement for my China brethren. And for India, it was at 1st July 2019. It moved to 1st of January 2021, which was almost like a 2 years movement. And for Mexico and Philippines, it was current for this. There was practically technically no movement. It was current, right? And for the EB2 NIW, rest of the world, it stayed at January 2023 and moved to 1st February 2023. It was like a 6 weeks movement, right? And for my folks from China, it was at January 2020 and it moved to June 2020, like almost 5 months movement or 6 months movement. And for Indian folks, it was at May and it remained at May. For Mexico and Philippines, it was at January 2023 and it moved to 15th of February 2023. And I would say that it was a huge movement that happened in January of 2024, noticing that the visa bulletin from came out in October of 2023 and stayed that way consecutively for November and December, and the January it was when the big move happened. So we continue monitoring the visa bulletin, and I will tell you that the movement happened in January. So what happened in February and March? There was no movement at all. And we'll get to April, which we could consider as the third month, because when we look at the pattern that happened from October to January, it was like 3 months. So we could estimate that there's going to be movement in April, but that was not the case. There was no movement at all because everything stayed the same way, except for my Indian folks, that the EB1 moved from January 2021 to April of 2021. It was a big jump for my Indian brethren, and I could imagine that a lot of people were able to apply for the adjustment of status. So we move away from April. May, there was no movement. June, there was no movement. It stayed the same as it was in January. So we want to ask ourselves, could this be the same way that is going to happen in the year 2025 upwards? There is likelihood it's going to remain the same because a lot of people are getting to know about the EB2 and the EB1s, and a lot of people are applying. I would also want you to keep in mind that the visas, the adjustment of status visa, the green card, were exhausted before October of 2024, which means that they would have backlog that they were dealing with before the fiscal year started. Let's keep that in mind. I understand that it's been a tough year for everyone that is waiting for the visa bulletin and the movement that is likely to happen or that should happen. I want to ask you a question. What is your current priority date? How long have you been waiting for the visa bulletin to move? Feel free to leave me a comment in the comment section below so that we will know how long you've been waiting and to empathize or sympathize with you as the case might be. Now, let's come to July, which was another month that the big move happened, right? Now, July was a month of jubilation for a lot of people because for the rest of the world, the EB1 remained current. For China, it was the same. But for my Indian folks, it moved from 1st of April 2021 to 8th of February 2022. It was almost like 1 year move for my Indian brothers. And for EB1, It moved from 15 February 2023, which was what it was as at January of 2024, and it landed at 22nd of March 2023. It was like 6 weeks movement, and I could tell you it made a lot of sense for a lot of folks from the rest of the world. And for China, it remained the same for the EB2, and for the Indian folks, for those waiting for the EB2 NIW, it moved from the 15th of May 2012 to June of 2012. It was kind of a decent movement for my Indian folks, the EB2 NIW. And for for Mexicans and the Philippines, it moved from 15th of February 2023 to 22nd of March 2023. I could tell you it was also a joyous moment for my folks from Mexico and the Philippines. Now let's move further to the next month that is going to determine the big movement, right? When we look at the fiscal year from October 2023 to September 2024, we will notice that the movement happened first in January, and the second time, which was a major movement, in July of 2024. Now, if we want to predict, I would say that the same thing is likely going to happen from October 2024 to September of 2025. There is likely going to be movement in January and another one in July. Now that we have looked at where the two movements happen, we are now going to make a final stop at October of 2024. Now we would understand October is a beginning of another fiscal year. We will notice that the EB1 was current, and for China, it stayed the same way as it was as at July of 2024, right? And for my Indian brethren, movement happened for them from February 8th to April 15, 2022. That was significant movement, like 2 months for those that apply for the EB1. And for Mexicans and the Philippines, it was current, so they don't need to worry about anything. And when we look at the EB2 NIW rest of the world, 22nd March 2023, it moved from that month to 1st of August 2023. That was a huge movement that happened from the last Visa Bulletin that came out in September and to the new fiscal year. That is to say that every fiscal year, there is a huge movement that happens, and I want us to take note of that. We're looking at my folks from China, my brothers from China, we would understand that another movement happened from 1st of June 2020 to October 1st, 2020. And for Indians, 22nd July 2012 to 1st of January 2013, that you will understand that the Indians are way behind when it comes to the EB2 NIW. And for the Mexicans and the Philippines and the Filipinos, right? I don't know which one is the right one, right? We would understand it moved from 22nd of March 2023 to 1st of August 2023. Now, when we look at the fiscal year from October of 2023 to September of 2024, we would understand there were two huge movements that happened. One in January of 2024 and another one in July. Now, if I'm allowed to make my prediction, I would say that for this fiscal year that we are in, starting from October of 2024, and that is going to end in September of 2025, the highest movement we are going to see is going to be a period of 4 months. And the movements are likely going to happen in January of 2025 and sometime either April or July of 2025. And my prediction for the next Visa Bulletin, that is the December Visa Bulletin, there is likely going to be no movement. And the movement is likely going to happen in January of 2025. I hope this helps you in keeping your mind at rest. I hope this helps you making your plans as at when to go get your medicals or when to go get anything that you needed for your adjustment of status. Let me know if you have been impacted by this Visa Bulletin. Leave a comment in the comment section so that I will know if this video has been helpful for you. I will see you in my next one. And don't forget to like my video, subscribe to my channel, and share this video with your family and friends, as that really helps my channel. I will see you in my next video. Peace.